3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey everybody, and welcome to the College Esports Update. Your host Norris Howard here as always, and we are going to start a jam-packed week of college esports for you with Rocket League. So we're going to first toss it off to Dominic Shotson, who's going to give us the rundown on what happened in CRL over the past week. Hey Dom, what's going on, man? So big week, huge week in College Rocket League. We had some of the big teams fall out, some of the big names that won't qualify for the playoffs. This was a major test for a lot of teams. So give us a rundown and a layout of the postseason picture coming up for College Rocket League.
Well, like you said, it was the final week of CRL, so it's time to lock in your playoff seeding. The West was pretty much predetermined coming into this week. UNT, LSU, and Arizona were far and ahead away of the other teams in their conference. UT Dallas needed to play their way in a little bit, but it was going to be a stretch for Oregon to catch up to them, and UT Dallas locked in that 4th seed. And then in the Eastern Conference, similar story. You had Northwood, of course. They only lost one game this season. Nobody's knocking them out. Akron and Florida Polytechnic, they were locking in. They were going to see who was going to get that 2 and 3 spot, but they were pretty much locked into the playoffs too. But the story of the week was the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. Ohio State came in 10 and 6. They had 2 games left against USF and UCF, the 2 teams vying for that 4th spot. And they just needed to beat both of them to lock in their spot, or maybe even just win one of them to win the tiebreaker over the other ones. They couldn't beat either team, and they lost both games. You hate to see it. They had destiny in their hands. They controlled their fate, and they lost both games. Especially against the second game, UCF, they got devastated by UCF in their last game. It was a 3-0 set. They got beat 8-0. It was merciless. So going into Sunday, UCF actually had the destiny in their hands at that point. They had to go in and beat Akron, though, to lock in that 4th seed. And this week we saw the return of Tristan for Akron, RLCS Pro. And no disrespect to Buttons, but Tristan is on another level. And Akron just decimated UCF on Sunday. 3-0 set. And ultimately USF gets in with that 4th spot. They just had to wait and see who won and lost, but they win by tiebreaker. Now that's that 4th seed. USF, University of South Florida.
Yeah, and so now the playoff picture is set. Dom, I got one more question for you talking about CRL. Obviously, we know Northwood and Akron are at the top of this pile, at the top of this list. Is there a team you think from the West that could even give them a run for their money? Because as it looks right now, we may be getting, depending on how the brackets and the seeding goes, I feel like we got a finals or a semifinal being set up for Akron and Northwood once again.
Maybe UNT, North Texas, they've been staying at the top of the competition in fall 20 as well, and then spring 21. They're a really competitive team. LSU, they kind of rebounded this week. We talked about them last week after dropping 4 straight. They did lose again this week, but they still, they are a team that is solid. But like you said, we're really looking at Northwood and Akron, and especially with Akron returning Tristan to the lineup. If he stays in the lineup, we're talking about a different team. Akron looked crazy better this week with Tristan as that lead striker role. He brings such a different element to that offense and to their defense. Northwood, they might actually have somebody to challenge them with Tristan back with Akron now.
Well, that's going to be our look at the final week of College Rocket League. We do have the postseason coming up very soon, so we're going to definitely be talking to Dom about that one. As we said, Northwood, the far and away favorites, but Akron right on their heels, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going down in College Rocket League. Thanks so much, Dom, and we'll see you next week. Welcome back to the College Esports Update. Checkpoint XP, the voice of College Esports. Your host, Norris Howard here. I am joined by Sebastian Rooney, our big brain when it comes to College Rainbow 6. Now, we are deep into the postseason. Kettering, was a Cinderella story here. We were looking to see if Kettering could maintain this momentum. They got in by default because somebody else got banned. But they came up against a very strong Akron team. How did this end up for Kettering, Sebastian?
Well, it went as you would expect going up against a team like Akron. They lost 2-1, but the fact that they were able to bring it to 3 maps, I think is an achievement in itself. I imagine most people had Akron just sweeping through everyone in their path to the finals. But Akron, they look dominant in their wins. They won their 2 maps. I believe it was 7-2, both of them. But Kettering would not go down without a fight. Even though they lost, they looked really strong in those losses. So
yeah, and unfortunately that brings their playoff hopes to an end, and Akron is going to get that berth for the finals. In the other semifinal, we have Purdue and Oklahoma State. So we're looking forward to that. Did we get a result for Purdue and Oklahoma State?
Not yet, but I'm hoping that Purdue gets it. As a fan, strictly, I want to see Akron Purdue too, a rematch from the College Invitational. So
all right, most definitely. Now update us on what happened in the Open League playoffs. That is the other side of the sort of college Rocket League setup, the Premier League invitational style. You play in the season, you get in. The Open League playoffs, anybody who wants to join, doesn't have to be varsity club, didn't matter. Open League playoffs are also on the way. Can you give us some of the results from there?
Yeah, so we're also in the semifinals in Open League, and the straight match we saw Alabama Huntsville take on UNC Charlotte. This game took all 3 maps as well. It was a very close 2-1, in which Alabama Huntsville ended up walking away the victors. They were a top team all year, so this was expected. You know, being the number 1 seed in all of the Open League, they punched their ticket to the finals, and they'll be going against University of Louisiana Lafayette, the 14th ranked team.
Right.
So
wow, see, yeah, that now if we want to talk about a Cinderella story, Louisiana and Lafayette is definitely a team that could go from rags to riches. So we have our Open Division finals set, and going into the weekend we will have our Premier League division finals set as well. As you said, Sebastian, Akron once again looking like a favorite going into those finals. Purdue possibly as another one of those favorites. And then we also have Alabama Huntsville in the Open Division going up against Louisiana Lafayette. So that's going to be your Rainbow Six Siege sort of Open and Premier League Division finals brackets. We're looking forward to those matches, and we're also looking forward to Sebastian giving us the results from those matches. Thanks again, Sebastian. Hey everybody, and welcome back to College Esports Update Checkpoint on Campus, your voice of college esports. I'm joined by Coach Adam Antor and Erica Sedora, our new League of Legends correspondent, coming to us from the sandy, I wanted to say shores, but there's no ocean in Vegas. So the sandy sands of Vegas. How you doing, Erica?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well, Coach. College Law, we're here.
Let's go.
We finally made it. The first round of 32, we had some big matches. I want to throw it out to Coach first. Out of the matches that you got a glance of, what is some of the results that kind of took you by surprise? There's always an upset or a weird result that happens in that first round. Anything catch your eye?
Yeah, I mean, the 2 matches that I think caught my eye were the Grandview Riverside match, in which Riverside actually won in game 3. That was a little surprising to me, but Riverside is a team we've been talking about all year coming out of the West Conference, so maybe not a big surprise to other people. The other match that really took me by surprise was the George Mason versus Northeastern University match, which I thought would be a lot closer, but what we saw was a game 1 FF going on to the side of George Mason, and then game 2 only lasting 21 minutes before George Mason overpowered the side of Northeastern to take the series 2-0.
Yeah, listen, you hate to see it. Erica, I want to throw it to you. FF, that's disappointing. You never want to see that in any game, but you definitely don't want to see it in the playoffs. You've been following all of the goings on of the round of 32s, of the matches you watch. What are some of the matches that caught your eye in terms of our first round here at CLOL?
So out of all the 14 teams, I think that proceeded on to the next bracket, I think the best teams, in my opinion, that performed really well were Winthrop and ASU. I might be a little impartial to ASU since they're the closest thing we have over down Vegas, but I think the communication and the rotations around the map really showed out, and I think that's a common theme between all of the winning teams we have. I think the teams that unfortunately lost this weekend, they played as individuals, and I think it's really important that they play as a team and they communicate. Winthrop with Sir Kenji and Doxa playing, oh man, that was incredible. I think Sir Kenji's power around the map and the way he just basically like fleeted and danced and did all this fun stuff as Gragas really brought the team together. Same with Doxa, he's quite a character. But I think his easygoing personality was shown through the league emojis, and I think that really calmed down the other team. And as for ASU, I believe they performed really well, as I said earlier. But Fire Theft, who is like the fan favorite for ASU, I don't want to say carried the team, but he really also showed out. The other players of ASU are more so humble with their plays, and I think they kind of rely on the top laner a little bit too much, but overall I think they did awesome.
Yeah, and so, obviously, because I am a homer and I will always root for the North Division no matter what, I took the time out to watch in its entirety the match between DePaul and Michigan State. Now, Michigan State was a team from the North Division that had to get voted in by committee. They did not win out the North Division because it is the strongest. You had teams like Maryville in that division as well, but they were able to move on, beating DePaul, and I got to give it to their jungler, Really Big Mean, because this kid lost his mind in game 1 and 2. They were absolutely awesome. They were playing Gwen jungle in the first match, and I really enjoyed watching it. However, they did drop that first match, which wasn't, Meme's fault. It was actually a lot of early dives onto the bot lane, so they didn't have enough damage. But this team is a team to watch out for, guys, because once they pulled it together, everything worked in concert. And you got to remember, DePaul was one of your Big East top teams that qualified in through the partner conference on their own. They won it out, so they were a strong team. But Coach, as you said, listen, the middle of the North Division is better than the top of some of these partner conferences, so we got a lot to look forward to when it comes to the next round. Now, I want to ask you guys very quickly, looking at the brackets for the next round, what are some teams and some matchups you guys are looking forward to? I want to start with Erica.
I'm so sorry. The team that I'm really looking forward to is Purdue. The Boilermakers, I think their plays are very calculated. Overall, as a team, they work together very mechanically well, but I don't think they communicate properly as a team. They're kind of spread out everywhere, but I'm looking forward to how they're gonna piece together their game. Another team that I'm also looking forward to is Maryville, also because they're defending their championship from 2019. They have exceptional players on their team, and another team I'm also looking forward to is the Winthrops versus the Highlanders. That is a game that is going to blow my mind, especially considering Highlander really blew us out of the water last night. They came together, they cleared their objectives, and they did fantastic. So those are the 3 games I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. Coach, you get the last word.
All right, I'm looking forward to the Harrisburg-George Mason match. You know how critical I am of Harrisburg and have been all year. This George Mason squad looks really strong, and it's going to be the first true test for this Harrisburg roster, I think, this year. I'm really looking forward to see if they can perform this weekend.
All right, guys, that is a look at the next round of College League of Legends. Don't forget, Everything has been on the Academy channel, as well as I believe Upsurge Esports. Those are some of the channels you can watch College League of Legends on. And I'm going to say this, the casting and the presentation for this has been absolutely stellar. I've been very impressed with it. Not just the student casters, but also the production team behind it. It feels great to finally see College Esports get a lot of love and get the premium package when it comes to the broadcast, and everything has looked really, really great. Only College COD has done it better. But that's going to be that for this episode of the College Esports Update. We thank all of our contributors, as well as all of you, for watching, listening, viewing, whatever it is that you do. We will be back here next week for another College Esports Update, where we'll be talking about the Elite 8 of the next week of C-Law, as well as the finals of CRL. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that next week, and we will see you later. Bye.